3 days had passed since Ms. Alaya became the new owner of Lux Drive. The dealership was no longer the same. Gone were the shiny salesmen with fake smiles. In their place stood respectful, trained staff wearing neat uniforms marked with Alaya's crest, a glowing silver circle with a quiet star in the center. Kai, now assistant manager, stood tall as he reviewed the updated schedule for hovercar demos. He greeted customers with genuine kindness, the way Ms. Alaya had shown him. Outside, a black luxury Gravian pulled up. The staff stopped and stared as 3 people in dark suits stepped out. They weren't ordinary customers. Each wore a red pin on their collar, the mark of the Intergalactic Business Council. Kai stepped forward. "Welcome to Lux Drive. How can I assist you?" The tallest one, a woman with sharp eyes, nodded. "We're here on behalf of Ms. Alaya. We represent her private trust. We need to inspect the property." Before Kai could respond, a voice came from the sky above Neo Haven, shimmered with silver clouds and blinking lights. Floating cars moved like quiet birds across the air lanes. Below them, in the heart of the Sky City, stood a tall glass mansion. It belonged to Malik Vaughn, one of the richest tech CEOs in the galaxy. But today, someone else arrived. She stepped off a public transport pod, slowly, quietly, wearing a long gray coat, old shoes, and no jewelry. Her skin was dark and smooth, her back straight. Her face showed age, but her eyes held power. Her name was Zora Vaughn. To the world, Zora was a legend, a self-made billionaire, founder of the first AI Human Harmony project, mother of Malik Vaughn. But no one recognized her now. And that was exactly her plan. Zora looked up at her son's home. She had helped him build it. But this visit was different. She wasn't coming as a mother. She wasn't coming as a guest. She was coming as a housemaid. 3 days ago, Malik had sent her a message. "I'm getting married, Mama. Her name's Kiara. She's amazing." But Zora had heard stories. Whispers. Too many people wanted Malik for his wealth and power. Zora didn't want to ruin her son's happiness. But she needed to know. Was Kiara marrying for love or for money? So Zora made a call, changed her name to Miss Luma, applied for a staff job using a fake ID. Nobody questioned her. After all, who would think the richest black woman in the world would sweep floors? When she entered the mansion, the guards barely looked at her. The manager, a tall man named Roland, gave her a cheap uniform and showed her a tiny room in the basement. "No speaking to guests," he said. "You clean, you leave. That's it." Zora nodded. Her test had begun. On her first day, Zora swept the glass halls and polished the robot servers. She cleaned the music room, the game hall, and the kitchen. No one noticed her until she met Kiara. Zora was mopping near the living room when a tall, light-skinned woman walked in wearing a gold dress and sharp heels. Her hair was long, her eyes cold. "Kiara." She looked at Zora for just a second before frowning. "You missed a spot," Kiara said, pointing to the floor. Zora smiled politely and kept cleaning. Kiara narrowed her eyes. "Are you new?" "Yes, ma'am," Zora replied softly. Kiara raised her chin. "Well, don't speak to guests. And stay out of the upstairs wing. That's for family." Zora didn't reply. She didn't need to. But in her mind, she took a note. That night, Zora sat alone in her small basement room. She pulled out a tiny device from her coat, no bigger than a button. It blinked once and showed a map of the mansion. She tapped a corner. Audio logs from the upper rooms played. "He's rich, Mom." "Like really rich," Kiara's voice said. "And no, he's not asking questions. His mom's not around." "Thank God. I heard she's scary." Zora paused the recording. Her eyes stayed calm, but her fingers gripped the device harder. The next day, Zora passed Kiara again. This time, Kiara didn't even look at her. "Bring me tea, 2 sugars, and make it fast." Zora brought the tea quietly. Kiara didn't say thank you. 2 days passed. Zora learned a lot. She saw Kiara speaking sweetly to Malik, but rolling her eyes when he turned away. She watched as Kiara snapped at chefs, ignored security staff, and took private calls that ended in laughter and strange code words. She also noticed that Malik was blind in love. Zora could feel her heart breaking, but she stayed silent. Not yet. Not until she knew everything. One night, Zora saw something strange. While cleaning the west hallway, she spotted Kiara sneaking into Malik's study. Zora hid behind a wall and watched through a reflection on the glass. Kiara walked to Malik's desk, opened a drawer, and took something small. A ring. A card. She slipped it into her dress. Zora didn't move. She just recorded everything using the button-sized device in her pocket. The next morning, Kiara walked past Zora again. "You still here?" she asked coldly. Zora smiled kindly. "Yes, ma'am. I'm always watching." Kiara frowned at the answer, but she didn't understand the meaning. Not yet. And so, as the mansion buzzed with wedding plans, only one person moved in silence. One person watched everything from the shadows. She may have looked poor. She may have looked old. But she was Zora Vaughn. And she wasn't here to clean floors. She was here to protect her son. No matter what it cost. The sun rose over Neo Haven, casting golden light over the glass mansion in the sky. Wedding decorations floated around the building, light drones painting the sky with Malik and Kiara's names. But down in the servant halls, Zora, still in disguise as Miss Luma, was wide awake. She sat on her small bed, holding her tiny hidden scanner. It blinked. It showed Kiara's fingerprint on Malik's private drawer. Zora's eyes narrowed. She now had proof that Kiara had stolen something from her son's office. But she didn't tell anyone yet. She wanted to see what Kiara would do next. That morning, the mansion was busy. Malik's old college friends arrived. Important guests from the Mars Council flew in. Everyone smiled. Everyone laughed. Everyone, except Zora. She cleaned quietly, listened carefully. She noticed that Kiara had changed. She now walked through the mansion like she owned it. She ordered staff around without looking at them. She corrected Malik in front of guests. She even told the chef to cancel Zora's meals. "No need to feed old staff," she whispered to the chef. "She looks like she eats enough." The chef hesitated. "But she's respectful." Kiara raised her eyebrows. "Do you want to keep your job?" Zora didn't say anything. She cleaned up the kitchen quietly. But deep inside, her heart beat fast. Not with anger, but with worry. This wasn't just a woman being rude. This was a woman who felt untouchable. Someone who thought power made her better than others. Later that night, Zora saw Kiara on a call again. The same woman's voice was on the other end. "You have the access card?" Kiara replied, "Yes. Got it from his drawer. Once I'm married, everything is mine anyway." Zora's eyes widened. Access card. Everything is mine. It wasn't just about marrying her son. Kiara had a plan. The next day, Malik walked into the kitchen smiling. Zora bowed low. "My son," she thought quietly, "how can you not see it?" But she stayed in character. Malik didn't recognize her. He nodded at her politely, like she was just another worker. "I hope the staff is treating you well, Miss Kiara," he said, turning to his fiancée. Kiara laughed. "Oh yes, they know their place." She glanced at Zora. "I mean, especially this one. Quiet as a mouse." Zora smiled. "You learn a lot by being quiet, ma'am." Kiara blinked. That answer felt strange. Too confident. That evening, something unexpected happened. Kiara slipped. Literally. She was walking down the stairs in high heels when she slipped on a cleaning butt's wet track and fell hard. Her dress tore. Her pride shattered. Staff rushed to help her. Only Zora stood still. Kiara looked up and locked eyes with her. "You did this." Zora raised an eyebrow. "I clean floors. You walk on them." Kiara's eyes burned with hate. But again, she said nothing. Later, Kiara stormed into the staff quarters. She pushed open the door to Zora's room. "You think you're clever?" she snapped. Zora stayed calm. "I'm just doing my job." "No, you're watching me. I feel it." Zora gave a small smile. Guilt makes people feel watched. Kiara froze. Then she laughed. "You know what? After I marry Malik, I'll make sure people like you are thrown out. No more hiding. No more pretending. Zora looked at her, really looked at her, and then spoke just one word. Exactly. That night, Zora called an old friend, an AI security expert named Brian. I need background on a woman named Kira Moon, she said. Brian replied, give me 24 hours. If there's dirt, I'll find it. Zora nodded. She had a feeling that everything was about to come crashing down. The next morning, something changed. Malik asked all staff to gather in the main hall. It was time for the family welcome ceremony, a special event to honor his future wife. Staff lined up. Kiera stood beside Malik in a long white dress, smiling like a queen. She looked at Zora and smirked. Malik raised his hands. I want you all to meet the love of my life. Zora stepped forward, bowed deeply. Kiera whispered to Malik, can we get rid of her after the wedding? Zora heard it, and for the first time, she spoke up. That would be unwise. Malik looked confused. What did you say? Zora straightened. Everyone stared. Kiera frowned. Who do you think you are? Zora looked at her, calm, unshaken, and with a small smile, she replied, someone who sees everything. The wind blew gently through Neo Haven as floating drones trimmed the sky garden above Malik's mansion. But inside the glass walls, tension was rising fast. Zora sat on the servants' balcony. She held a tiny earpiece in one hand. Bryn's voice came through at last. Zora, you were right. I found everything. Her heart thudded. Kiera Moon is not who she says she is. Her real name is Kiera Miles. She changed her records 2 years ago. She has a sealed file from the Mars court system. Zora's eyes narrowed. What's in the file? She asked. Financial fraud, blackmail, a marriage scam, just like this. Zora's blood ran cold. This wasn't just about greed. This woman had done it before. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, Kiera was getting more confident. She now walked through the home office like it belonged to her. She had the access card she stole from Malik's drawer. She entered his private lab. She scanned through his project files on quantum gateways, planetary defense codes, and even private military contracts. She copied everything onto a small Q drive and smiled. Soon, she whispered, I won't need Malik at all. She had plans to sell these secrets and vanish, just like last time. Back in the servants' room, Zora studied the file Bryn had sent. She now had video proof of Kiera stealing documents, audio of her whispering to someone named Drayden, a known cybercriminal from Saturn's dark market. Zora's fingers tightened on her tablet, but she wasn't ready to expose Kiera yet. She needed Malik to see the truth with his own eyes. The next day, Zora quietly left the mansion and visited an old friend in the lower city, Nurse Kayla, a retired medical officer from Zora's army days. They had tea in a quiet rooftop garden. I need your help, Zora said. I want a DNA scan of this woman. I think she's hiding more than just her name. Kayla scanned the photo. A few minutes later, her eyes widened. This woman has had cosmetic DNA masking. She's changed parts of her identity. Eyes, blood type, even parts of her fingerprint code. She's hiding from something serious. Zora nodded. Now it was confirmed. Kiera was not only a liar, she was dangerous. Later that evening, Kiera held a dinner party for Malik's friends. She wore a diamond crown and sat proudly at the head of the table. She told loud jokes. She made fun of the staff. Malik laughed nervously, not noticing how rude she had become. Zora walked by, serving food. Kiera leaned close to Malik. I want her gone tomorrow. Malik frowned. She's just doing her job. I said. Kiera whispered, I want her gone. Zora said nothing, but inside she was burning. One more day, she thought, just one more test. That night, Malik was working late in his lab. Zora entered silently. He looked up. Yes, you need something. Zora reached into her apron and handed him the Q drive. What's this? Proof, she said calmly, of who Kiera really is. Malik was confused. He scanned the cube. Suddenly, his face changed. He saw Kiera stealing data, heard her voice talking about selling secrets, saw the fake ID documents, the court file from Mars, the medical report. He stood up fast. This can't be. Zora looked him in the eye. It's true. Malik sat down hard, breathing quickly. Who are you? He whispered. Zora reached up and pulled off her gray wig. She looked him in the eyes. I'm your mother. That night, the mansion was quiet. The wedding was cancelled. Kiera was in custody. Guests had gone home, gossiping about the scandal. Malik sat in the private lounge with his mother, Zora. He still couldn't believe it. You went undercover in your own son's home? He asked softly. Zora nodded. Her eyes were calm but sharp. I had to. You wouldn't have listened otherwise. Malik leaned forward. Why though? Why didn't you just tell me you didn't trust Kiera? Zora took a deep breath. Then she told him a story he had never heard before. Years ago, before Malik was born, Zora had been engaged to a man named Narek. He was rich, charming, powerful. But he only wanted one thing, she said, my family's tech patents. Zora had trusted him, loved him, until she found out he was selling her work to their rivals, secretly building his own empire off her inventions. I ended the engagement, but he nearly ruined everything. Zora stared at the fire. After that, I promised myself I'd never let my family fall for a pretty face with a dirty heart again. Malik listened closely. He had never seen this side of his mother before. You think Kiera was like him? He asked. Zora nodded. Worse. At least Narek did the stealing himself. She tried to marry into power to do it silently. She leaned forward now, her voice lowered. And this isn't over yet. Malik raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Zora tapped her wrist device. A glowing map appeared in the air. It showed a secret lab on Mars. Drayden, Kiera's partner, he's still out there. He has copies of some of your company's designs. Malik's eyes narrowed. So it was never just about the marriage. Zora nodded. It was about your legacy, your tech, your future. Malik stood up slowly. His voice turned serious. Then we finish what she started. We shut down everything. Every back door. Every spy. Zora smiled. That's my boy. Later that night, Malik visited his staff. He called a meeting in the lounge. All workers came, chefs, cleaners, pilots, guards. They were confused and nervous. Then Malik pointed to Zora, who now wore a sleek CEO uniform. This woman, he said, was watching you all, testing you, not just Kiera. Gasps filled the room. Some staff members turned pale, others bowed their heads in respect. Malik continued, some of you treated her like trash. Others were kind even when you didn't know who she was. He looked around slowly. From today forward, this mansion and my company will be built on respect, not pranks, not lies. The next morning, Zora received a message from the Galactic Court. Drayden is on the move, it said. Last seen heading toward the Red Rings. Zora showed it to Malik. We have one more mission, she said. Malik nodded. Let's finish this. The next day, Malik and Zora boarded a sleek stealth ship. Their destination, the Red Rings of Mars, a lawless zone where tech thieves and smugglers hid their operations. Drayden, the man behind Kiera's plan, was hiding there. He had stolen copies of Malik's AI weapon designs. If he sold them, galaxies could fall into chaos. We end this now, Malik said, locking in the coordinates. Zora sat beside him, calm and focused. Stay sharp. He's smarter than Kiera and more dangerous. They landed near a desert cave hidden under red rock. Heat waves shimmered in the air. Their boots crunched on Martian dust. Inside the cave, lights flickered. Tech wires ran through the walls. They moved quietly, blasters in hand. Suddenly, voices. It's only a matter of time before we sell this code, Drayden said inside the control room. Then we vanish. Zora and Malik waited. Then, boom! Smoke bombs dropped from the ceiling. Lights flashed. Zora rolled in first. Dropped the drive. Drayden spun around. You again. Malik followed, aiming his blaster. You messed with the wrong family, he said coldly. Drayden smirked. You think you've won? He pressed a button. Alarms blared. Robots sprang from the floor. 4 armed machines pointed at Zora and Malik. But Zora was ready. She activated a wrist shield. Nice toys. I built better in college. She dashed forward. Malik backed her up, shooting the control panels. The robots froze. Sparks flew. Drayden tried to escape. Zora tackled him hard. You wanted to steal my son's future, she growled. Here's your return gift. She stunned him with a pulse blast. Back on Earth, Judge Alara greeted them at the landing dock. Drayden will be locked away for a long time, she said, and the stolen code is deleted. Malik smiled. Thanks, Judge. One more problem solved. Judge Alara turned to Zora. You still got it, ma'am. Zora smiled softly. I never lost it. Weeks passed. Peace returned. Malik called a press meeting. He told the galaxy the truth. How a fake marriage nearly destroyed his empire, and how his mother saved it. The news went viral. People across systems praised Zora for her bravery and wisdom. She became a legend again. That night, Malik stood on his balcony. Stars blinked above him. Zora joined him. I was wrong about Kiera, Malik said. But you were right. Real love doesn't need lies. Zora nodded. The heart knows. You just have to listen. Malik smiled. So what now? Zora looked up at the stars. Now, she said, we rebuild. Stronger, smarter, together. The camera pulled back as the two stood under the night sky. Mother and son, side by side. Not just a family,